Okay, we're on a series on the prophet Job. We had part one, the prophet Job. And we have some other messages coming in this series, which we've already done. We've completed the studies like this one here. And we find this fascinating, guys. This is so fascinating, so interesting. Look, this is going to be a mysterious message. All right. I'm going to try and work through it. There's going to be some mysteries in here and things that we have already done in-depth studies through the course of the years. Look, the fact of the matter is you're watching this video and you want the information in a half hour. But keep in mind, I've been doing this 12 years full time. Okay? So I have to take 12 years of full-time research and put it into a half hour. So anyway, in Job, what we have is we have Job as an end-time saint. Job is going through the tribulation. Job's going through the apocalypse, and he is going through it, and he is going to see the second coming of Christ, and he's going to go into the millennium. So we do have future videos coming up which are going to confirm this. So don't think that what we're saying in this video is like a stretch or anything else. You'll see that clearly Job is end-time saint. Another message going to be on the seventh bowl. All right. And then we got the seventh bowl and then Job entering the millennium. Okay? So we're going to see all those things very, very clear. So it shouldn't be unusual to us, all right, that when Job is going through the tribulation, he's going to see the two witnesses. He's going to see one of the two witnesses. One of the two witnesses he's going to see is Elijah. And in a sense, guys, what's happening here with this appearance of Elijah, it's as if Elijah, is like rebuking the end times church, in a sense, right? Like the end time saints that are going through the tribulation. All right, there's arguments taking place with Job in the things that he's going through with three friends. Those three friends, are arguing and going back and forth in Job between chapter 3 and 31. Then we got someone in Eliyahu. Now, if you go to Jerusalem, you go to Israel, you listen to Hebrews, they don't say Elijah. They don't say that. That's an English word, an English name. They say Eliyahu. And Eliyahu is exactly the name of the person that begins to appear to Job in chapter 32 and continues into chapter 37. So we have 5 chapters of this figure. Now, the three friends that are arguing with Job, all those other chapters, they are rebuked by the Most High at the end of Job 42. Okay? In fact, Job has to offer sacrifices for them. However, Eliyahu, he is not rebuked along with the three friends. So what we're suggesting is that the prophet Job has an appearance of Elijah. Okay? That 5 chapters there, and those right after those 5 chapters, Yahweh appears to Job in a cloud, just like the Son of Man is going to appear in the clouds. Same thing. As soon as Elijah's testimony is finished, we get Yahweh appearing to Job, and then Job enters the millennium. This is fascinating, guys. This is in here. This is coded, and so it's coded in. There's mysterious things. Well, they're not really mysterious, but for many of you, you don't know them, and so they will be. But we have been covering these things, and we're very, very excited because the testimony of Elijah is confirming many of the things that the Spirit has led us to. So what we're going to suggest is that there is a council that takes place in the end of days with Christ and the two witnesses, and in a discussion of the end times second Exodus, along with other mysteries of the apocalypse. Okay, so as a gathering, it's a recreation of the events of Christ when he was transfigured on Mount Hermon. You can see our title, Elijah in Job. In this section, we're talking about Elijah and Moses appearing to Christ where they appear on a high mountain in Caesarea Philippi. Okay, we believe that's Mount Hermon, all right. And on that mountain, that's where Christ, he appeared and he had a council with Moses and Elijah. And we believe that something like this is to happen and repeat itself in the end of days, when Moses and Elijah will continue their ministry that they didn't finish when they were on the earth. Okay? So, that we have an appearance of Elijah, or Eliyahu. Okay, get used to the name Eliyahu. We're going to say the Hebrew pronunciation quite a bit here. And that, when we say that, we're saying the same thing as Elijah. And so he is in chapters 32 through 37. And what we hope to accomplish in this piece is, along with recent events, okay, these are things that are happening now. So when the IDF went into Syria, on the Syrian side of Mount Hermon, they took the mountain. Okay, when they take the mountain, we showed you in previous video, this is relating to the promised land. All right, so in Job 32, we have a figure, Elihu, it says in the King James, we're going to say Eliyahu, whom the Most High does not rebuke like the three other friends, indicating his words were acceptable. Now, the English translations of his name, Elihu, but a closer look reveals that in Hebrew, it is spelled exactly the same as Elijah. The Strong's Concordance has Elihu as Eliyahu, which you see right here. Okay, so this Eliyahu, which we see right here, I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to put that in yellow for you. All right, that's what it says in Job 32 too. But if you look at the Hebrew letters there, you can see, or excuse me, I should highlight this one. I'll highlight this one. Okay, the in the Hebrew, not in the English, excuse me. See, we get an Aleph, Lamed, Yod, Hey, Vav. Okay? You see that? It is in fact the same spelling as Elijah, which you see exactly here. So what I've done is I've copied and pasted the Hebrew spelling of the exact Hebrew letters that are used in Job 32 and in 1 Kings 17. And when we look at them, you can see that they, in Hebrew, are spelled identically the same. Okay? So, this is one of the indications for us that what we have is we have the same person. So that when we're here and we're looking at this text, we're suggesting this is in fact Elijah. So each are separated by centuries of time, as we talked about before, but it's significant that both are pronounced the same in Hebrew, Eliyahu. Okay, so in Hebrew, if we were to say Eliyahu is the same, and we can see that the Hebrew letters are identical. We talked about before, take my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of the suffering, affliction, and patience. And behold, we count them happy which endure. You have heard of the patience of Job, and you have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is pitiful and of tender mercy. Okay? So there we have Job. In fact, while I'm studying, I'm just remembering. I'll see if I can bring up a Bible and see if it's there. But in the book of James that we're reading about Job, it might talk about Elijah as well. We'll do a study here together. Most of the notes are prepared, but when you go to present, the Spirit will lead you with more and more information. So we'll see where Elijah is when he speaks to James. Quite often in the New Testament, it might be spelled Elias, Elias. We'll see if we can find that. Bringing this up here, and let's do a quick search. Okay, see, that's the New Testament spelling, and we're seeing that many times, of course, in the Gospels, and then we get James. Yeah, look at that, see? I didn't remember exactly where it was. I knew it was in the book of James. So in the same chapter that James is talking about Job, he talks about Elijah. Wow, guys. We're going to add this to the notes. He prayed. Okay, so when he prayed, he's talking about when he prayed earnestly on the earth, and he had his testimony for 3.5 years. Okay, so bang, look at that. We have James chapter 5 verse 10 talking about Job, and then we have James chapter 5 and verse 17, and he is talking about Elijah. So Elias is Elijah. It's just the Greek transliteration of Elijah. All right. So again, this is confirmation to us that even James has, maybe even through the revelation of the Spirit, identified that this is happening in the book of Job. If we look at Job as the prophet, we can see that Job has Elijah visit him. Fascinating. So we know that Eliyahu is the son of Barachel. So what we want to do here is we want to take a look at the information given about Eliyahu in Job chapter 32. Tells us some things about him. And we want to look into this and see what it says and see what does this mean? Is there any symbolism here? And he is the son of Barachel, the Buzite of the kin of Ram, of the place of Ausis. This is what I'm going to say in the ABP. And we suggest he's one of the prophets because Barachel is a similar name to Zechariah's father, Berechiah. So Barak, the root at the beginning of the name, Barak, is to bless. And then the suffix at the end is God, El. And sometimes that can, be Ya'el or Yah. And so Barak Yah, okay, that's the father of Zechariah. Barak El is the father of Eliyahu. Okay, so that gives us an indication that maybe this person is one of the prophets. And so it says he is of the kin of Ram. All right, Ram, and Ram could mean a region or a place. Aram, you've heard Aramaic, Aram. Well, that's a place that's in Syria. Okay, so this could be giving us indications of where he's from, and he's the Buzite. And what's interesting there is Buzite is Ezekiel's father. The prophet Ezekiel is also the Buzite. So the word of Yahweh expressed to Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi. Okay, so that's the same as Eliyahu. So what this information is telling us is that this person, this Eliyahu, that's here, is a prophet. All right. Now he's also from the land of Uz, and we talked about in the previous video, Job is from the land of Uz, and we talked about how it was Huran. It was the area, so you get Damascus here, and then there was the area south of Damascus, Huran, which you see here. And this is important to us because if this is right, we don't know if this is right 100%, but what it's giving us an indication is that the place that Eliyahu is in the book of Job is very close to where Elijah the prophet is in 1 Kings chapter 17. Okay, so if we look at our map here, you can see Huran is here and Gilead is here, right next to each other. Where's Elijah from? He's Elijah, the Tishbite, who is of the inhabitants of Gilead. So again, we got these two figures. We got Eliyahu in the book of Job, and we got Elijah the prophet. We believe they're the same person, and we believe that they're even from a very, very close proximity of the same places when we research where they're from. But either way, the indication when we get the information that Eliyahu is, he is one of the prophets. Okay. In this case, he is Elijah making statements, making an appearance to Job before Yahweh. The voice of the wilderness crying, he comes to prepare the way of the Lord, okay? So we encourage you to read the whole chapters, okay, because we do believe Elijah is appearing as a rebuke to the end times church. He is rebuking Job as an end time saint, okay? And the Most High does not rebuke him like he did the other three friends, so it's very interesting. And we have Mount Transfiguration, when Christ appeared, he appeared and he was in council with Moses and Elijah. And so they were talking about the Exodus. Okay, the Exodus. Now what we believe is there's a second Exodus. So when Christ was revealed on the Holy Mount, we believe is Mount Hermon, per our last study, there appeared with him two men, Moses and Elijah, appeared with them in glory. And they spake of his decease, or if we look in the Greek, Exodus. Christ's Exodus of his first coming, in which he shall accomplish in Jerusalem. Now what we believe is that there's another meeting in the end of days, a similar thing in glory, and when there's a second Exodus, okay, there's another Exodus, there's another gathering the people, and Christ is going to appear in Jerusalem again. And so Moses and Elijah appear with him in a council, all right, and they discuss, okay, the end times Exodus and the gathering of the 144,000 and the gathering of the land. So they appear in the land, the promised land on Mount Hermon. All right. And so we believe it may be like Moses is over and responsible for the tribe of Levi. He's the Levite, and Judah, which is Jerusalem, and Eliyahu or Elijah. Elijah didn't go and minister in Jerusalem. He was in Samaria. He was in the 10 tribes. So that Elijah's the 10 tribes, gathering at 10 tribes. Moses gathering tribes of Levi and Judah. Okay. And when we see Eliyahu speak 7 thunders, and we can see is the land or the possession. Okay, the land of possession. So Yahweh performs his judgment in the earth for his land. And more specifically, the covenant with Abraham. Okay? In Job 37 verse 13, that they may do whatsoever he commands them upon the face of the world of the earth, he causes it to come. Judgments, that is, whether for correction, his land, or mercy. So what's happening is judgment's taking place, and it's for the promised land, his land. And thunder comes as a noise, and this is one of the thunders of Revelation, Job 36, verse 33, a noise shows concerning it the cattle or possession in some translations. Therefore, the discussion for the land would be the 10 lost tribes. The tribes of Judah and Levi, they can be in Jerusalem, but not all the land is part of the 10 tribes, as we've shown you. And Mount Hermon is a part of that. Okay, new wine and communion. All right, this is the mystery of new wine. When Christ comes, he says, behold, I will make all things new, and that relates to the new wine. And Eliyahu says, my belly is as if a leather bag of sweet new wine, bubbling and being tied up. All right, and we see the bread, okay, so that his life abhorreth bread, and his soul dainty meat. Thus we have confirmation of the all things new with the new wine or new sweet wine in the new bottles, and we also have the bread. So this is communion. So the Eliyahu is talking about communion, and that's also the order of Melchizedek when he appears. And we have dreams and visions. The Lord speaks once a second time. So he will speak once as what? In the word, as the scriptures. And then he'll speak a second time. He will confirm his words with dreams and visions. Sending a dream or a vision, a night meditation. Thus referring to the outpouring of the Spirit in dreams and visions, which serve as confirmation to his word. And if there be an interpreter. If there be a messenger or angel with them, an interpreter, one among 1,000, to show a man his uprightness. Okay, so what we're doing is we are reading these words, okay, that we find that are very interesting in Job when Elijah appears. The resurrected body. These passages imply the resurrection in verse 34. Deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom, kofar in the Hebrew, redemption price, which was paid at the cross. And the resurrection is implied by the marrow-filling bones and his skin as a baby. He shall renew his body as new plaster upon a wall. That's what it says. And he will fill his bones with marrow. Okay, he will make tender his flesh as an infant or a baby. He will restore him to manhood among men. So this here is referring to the resurrection. Okay, so Eliyahu's confirming the resurrection. Okay, there in Job 33. Okay, because remember, we're here in Job 33, and that's all what we're reading, Job 33. So this is all Eliyahu talking. We also know that praise and song are mentioned in the chapters of Eliyahu. And it could be the song, Blessed be the name of the Lord. The blessed be the name of the Lord is what Job says in Job chapter 1, verse 21. The Lord gives and takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So with an utterance of praise, he will recompense that my life and light should praise him. Where is my God, my maker, who gives songs in the night? Okay, so all of these are praise. Okay, and we know that Christ, he sang the Psalms with his disciples on the mount. Okay. Taste. All right. We have another mystery. Christ said to his apostles that some would not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his glory. Okay, that's what he said in Matthew 16. And what he's speaking about is when he goes unto the mountain of transfiguration. Verily I say unto you, there are some standing here which shall not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. And after 6 days, it's just after 6 days, Jesus takes Peter, James, and John, his brother, and brings them up to the high mountain. Thus the Son of Man being mentioned is also in Job 35. And taste in Job 34:3. For the ear hears his words and the mouth tries, tastes food. So we have key words, guys. This is amazing. All these key words is what Eliyahu is saying, and it's also in relation to the Mount of Transfiguration. All right, the judgment of the 10 kings. 24 elders are victoriously seated. So we do see Eliyahu and Elijah talking about the 24 elders. All right, they are victoriously seated on their thrones. And they are to judge the 10 kings. He withdraws not his eyes from the righteous, but the kings are on the throne. Okay, who's the righteous kings on the throne? That's the 24 elders, Revelation 4. They are overcomers, Nikeo in the Greek. Okay, relates to Nikos, the overcomers, victory. And he shall seat them into victory, and they shall be exalted, Job 36, verse 7. So Elijah is talking about the 24 elders, and what are they doing? Well, we believe that they're judging the 10 kings, because then it says this, if they be bound, that is other kings be bound, the 10 kings, the kings that will go to war against the Lamb. If they be bound with fetters, if they be holden in cords of affliction, then he will show them their work and their transgression that they have exceeded. He opens also the ear to discipline and commands them that they return from iniquity. And they obey and serve him. They shall spend their days in prosperity and their years in pleasures. If they obey not the 10 kings, they shall perish by the sword, and they shall die without knowledge. Then the 10 kings are thrown into the abyss. And from when he beguiled from out of the mouth of the enemy, an abyss for throwing down is underneath it. Okay? So there we could see 24 elders judging the 10 kings. Elijah's talking about this. And if they obey not, okay, the words, they are going to the abyss. Elijah's tabernacle. What's interesting is that Peter, we know Peter's talking about the tabernacle. Lord, we should make a tabernacle, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. On Mount Hermon, right? Well, Eliyahu mentions a tabernacle. But let's read what Peter said. Then Peter said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you will, let us make 3 tabernacles, skene in the Greek, one for thee, one for Moses, one for Elijah. See, Elias, it says in the King James, but that's Elijah. And we see this tabernacle of Elijah, because Elijah is speaking, and the noise of his tabernacle, sukkah. One should have perceived the spreading out of the clouds as equal with his tent. Okay, so that's the tent, and that's the sound of the tent. And we believe because it's Elijah talking, he's talking about the tent, the 3 tents that Peter had mentioned. Okay, Elijah's talking about the glory cloud. Okay, we know on Mount Transfiguration that was the glory cloud that appeared. All right, and the glory cloud also is described by Eliyahu. Behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. Behold, a voice came out of the cloud. This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Hear you him. Okay, so that's Matthew 17. And we see Eliyahu describes this glory cloud in Job 36:28, of which light is not visible to all. So there's a light that's not visible to every person. Okay, APB in Job 37. Glory is specifically associated with this cloud. We call it glory cloud. From the north are clouds shining like gold. Okay, in these the glory, doxa, and honor from the Almighty is great. So this is the glory cloud. Behold, he spreads his light upon it and covers the bottom of the sea. For by them he judges the people, and he gives food in abundance. With clouds he covers the light and commands them not to shine, but the cloud that comes between. The noise shows concerning the cattle, also concerning the vapor. So within the cloud is also a council. There's also a council in the glory. Job 37:11. Also by watering, he waters the thick cloud. He scatters his bright cloud, and it turns about by his counsels, that they may do whatsoever he commands them. Okay, so we know Moses, Elijah, they appear in a glory cloud with Christ in a council, and we believe it's the same thing in the end of days. Eliyahu also speaks the voice of the 7 thunders. 3 times Christ's testimony. The Father speaks with a voice of thunder from heaven, that people heard it at his baptism. And in John 12, they said it thundered. Others said it was an angel. And then Luke 9, the glory overshadowed, and they feared when they entered the cloud, and there came a voice out of the cloud saying, "This is my beloved Son." Okay, so Father 3 times spoke in a glory cloud. Now Eliyahu speaks of a strong one, iskrios, krios in the Greek, in Job 37:5. He established the strong one, a season, an hour of wonders with the voice of animals, and they know the order of the fold. Okay, so the strong one, what is this? Well, it's the same word used in Revelation 10. I saw a mighty angel, iskrios, angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and he had in his hand a little book open. All right, so he's got a little book open. Then he roars like a lion, and he does 7 thunders, and he tells John, "Write not those things which the 7 thunders have uttered." Okay, so Apostle John is a scribe, and he's told not to write those down. Well, we see this also mentioned here in Job 37:20. Fascinating. Is there a book, biblos, a scribe, standing beside me, that standing I shall quell a man? Okay? Likewise, Job 37:20, the one writing the book is to be quiet. Okay, he's not supposed to write. Okay, John says, I was about to write, and he said, write not those things with the 7, seal them up. So they're sealed up. But Elijah mentions them. Okay, so we get 7 times the thunder. Okay, the first thunder, 36:7, the noise, the clashing, the clamor. That relates to the tabernacle. We've seen that earlier. That was first thunder. Second thunder, the noise concerning the cloud, the noise, the clash of thunder, noise of war, the shout. The third, hear attentively the noise, rogez, thunder of his voice. The fourth, the sound, the hega that goes out of his mouth. The fifth, after his voice roars like a lion. Sixth, God thunders marvelously with his voice and does great things And 7th, can you thunder with a voice like him? Okay. So there we see the 7 thunders. We see the seal. Okay. Then he opened the ears of men and seals their instruction. Okay, so we get the seal. He seals the hand of every man. Fascinating. So Job knows the ones that are sealed, the ones that's 144,000. Not Job, Eliyahu. And then Job 31:15. This is just before Elijah appears. And this is Job speaking. And Job talks about the seal, the taw. My mark is that the Almighty will answer me, and my adversary have written a book. Surely I would take it up on my shoulder and bind it as a crown. Okay, so Job is talking about the seal, because taw is a tav and a yod, and that's the same exact word that's used in Ezekiel 9. It's only used 2 places in Scripture, Ezekiel 9 and right here in Job 31. That is the tav. He's getting marked with the olive tav. Okay, and that's the reference of that here. So he's marking of the foreheads, Ezekiel 9, and there's a crown. So, okay, he's getting the taw on the crown. The crown is on his forehead. And that's the signature of the Almighty. Okay, the council. We talked about the council before, but it's radiating in the glory cloud. He scatters a bright cloud and turns about his counsels and causes light to shine, the cloud to shine. And now men see not the bright light which is in the cloud, but the light is not visible to all. It is radiant above the things grown old, and is from him upon the clouds, radiant. Okay? And that's what happened to Christ. He was transfigured before them. He radiated. For out before them, he radiated as the sun. Okay, the mystery of the molten mirror. Okay, now we are in a time, I have other videos on this. I'll have to try and reference them. When I go to post the notes, I'll try to post the links of the videos. The mystery of the molten mirror. The molten mirror. Okay, what's that? Well, we go to 1 Corinthians 13, and 2 Corinthians, Apostle Paul is talking about this. So that there will be a time when that which perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. For we shall see now by a mirror or an enigma, but then face to face. Okay, so what is it talking about? It's talking about like when you can't see God directly, you have to look at like a reflection off something. Like if you look at the water, you can look at the water, and if it's a pond and it's smooth, you can't look at directly what's across from the pond. You know, that's the Most High, but you can look at the reflection of him in the water, and that's how you see. That's the mirror. That's kind of like what he's talking about. So Apostle Paul uses this mirror as describing the day when the Most High is seen face to face, like Moses. This is in 2 Corinthians 3:18. But we all, with an open face, beholding as a glass mirror, there's that glass mirror again, the glory of God, are transfigured, like metamorphosis, into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. So, we're just mentioning briefly what is the mirror, and Eliyahu, okay, his end times appearance in the apocalypse, he confirms that is when that which is perfect is come. So when Christ's second coming fulfills what Apostle Paul was saying, alluding to the mirror, and he will, when that which is perfect is come. So we have it right here, Job 37:16. The wondrous works of him which is perfect. Okay, there's our key word, perfect, just like we could see Apostle Paul as a molten looking glass. All right, so Eliyahu is confirming this is when he appears, at the time of his appearance, that is when that which perfect is come, Christ come, he can be seen face to face. So again, the result in Job's response. Okay, Job 33:26. He shall see his face with joy. Okay, and this also relates to the brazen laver. This is with all the connections we have of the mirror. Brazen laver, which had mirrors on them, like the sea of glass, okay, when Moses made the laver. And again, the glass, it also held water. And in the glass, same thing. You could see if the water was flat. You could look at the reflection of the water. And you could You couldn't look at the Most High directly, but now is the time he could be seen face to face. So what have we learned? Okay, we've learned a great mystery in summary, that we can see that we have the unique prophecy of Elijah expressed in the character Eliyahu in the book of Job. We see their prophecy in the Job. We've seen Job already talk about the Antichrist, Behemoth, Gog, Leviathan. And we hope to show you that how Job is in the millennium. That's going to be a future study. And here, Eliyahu confirms this message before the appearance of Christ. So Job 38:1. And after the ending of the speech of Eliyahu, the Lord said through a tempest in a cloud. See that, guys? That's the completion right there. Elijah completed his testimony, completed talking. And then the first thing that happens is the Lord appears in a cloud. So, in the Eliyahu discourse, we have many mysteries revealed, some of which we have discussed in previous studies about the mystery of Christ's second coming. And we believe the council of Christ with Moses and Elijah happens again in the apocalypse. Details are in Eliyahu's discourse. And we are able to see physical manifestations. Amazing things take place. IDF went and took Mount Hermon. Remember, that was the place of the oath when the angels went to the daughters of men. And we have the recent appearance of drones, like UFOs coming down as in the days of Noah. Well, that was the same place, Mount Hermon, where the angels came down. And so when Mount Hermon changed into Israel, at the same time we get the drones. We don't think it's coincidence. So we're going to continue with our series. We've got a few more messages coming up on Job. That's what we learned, guys. I'll post the notes in a link in the description field of the video. And the voice came from the throne and from the temple, from him saying, "It is done."